Chips. Hello everyone, here's Bogdan from Ship Studios. Today we are back with another tutorial for the Halloween series and we are modeling our most famous wizard and his loyal staff today. So let's get started. Oh, here we are back into the office. This is the house that we finished the previous tutorial. So right now we want to actually hide it and we want to use our new reference for the wizard. So let's do that first. And I actually want to create a new collection for the wizard. But first let's add the reference. I chose this one. I also found it on Pinterest. It's a really interesting design. I won't be doing precisely the same as in here since our model will be, well, with less polygons. Okay, let me just drag here and I want to block this and let's create first a cube. All right, let's go into wireframe mode. Let's drag that a bit smaller and then drag it about here. I want to actually start with the torso area. So let's create the shoulders. We'll be creating the broad part of the wizard and then we'll go into more detail. So let's extrude here and drag that a bit in. And I want to extrude again, create this part, and this should be the chest area. And right now we go through the waist to about this point, and let's extend it. And let's go for knees or maybe legs. Yeah, let's just do that. I actually don't think I'll be doing much part for the feet. Just drag it into its cloak. Let's center that a bit. All right, and let's go for the head. Extrude one here. And another one here. And let's do the top also. The wizard will be actually inside of his coat, so you won't see much of his face or his hand. I don't think I'll create shoes or feet for him. I'll just make them move. So let's drag that here and make it thinner. And as you can see right now, we have a coffin. So let's get more detail into. Just take two lines here to the front and to the side. And let's move them a bit. I want that get a bit inside. So that's the legs area. And this would be the chest area. That would be around the neck. I'll drag that a bit out. And I'll drag those vertices around a bit to create a shape. We'll be doing the head separately and maybe the hand also. But for now, we're just modeling the coat. So I need to drag those three vertices in so that we create shape. And I want the middle ones to be a little bit higher. Just like that. And those two should be fit in. Basically, we're building like a hoodie. Maybe a bit like that. We also have to take into account that clothes don't really stand on you straight, so we can make them a bit more uneven. All right, and let's go to the neck area again, and let's drag those also a bit in. And those two, since, well, he has a back. But don't forget that our character is quite old, or at least it seems like he is, or she is, for that matter. And let's drag this a bit in also, in the feet area. Those a bit out. So that would be like a fabric flapping around in the back. And let's drag those. Okay. And right now I want to make this area where the hands would probably be. Drag them a bit in. It should be around the neck area. And I want also to drag them a bit in. if you take a look at it, I left the vertex a bit out on the middle part, so that would be like the chin area where we would have the face. I want to select this edge all the way to about here and make that cave in. And the top ones I want to drag even further down. All right. And I want those two vertices also. Oh, that one. Let's drag that in. I want to select those faces and I want to inset them. So this would be the part where we want to extrude that inside, so then we can add a head. So this would be the part where the clothes don't cover anymore. Let's scale that a bit. Drag that down. Scale again, drag a bit, and you can take it back further. I know it's looking really blocky for now, but bear with me, it will get better. So let's just drag those a bit back also to make a curve. Can probably add a bit more around here. Cave that in. And okay, the area looks good for now. Let's add the subdivision surface modifier and wow, we get more geometry. That's awesome. I want to deselect that into edit mode. And let's select those faces again, maybe make them a bit bigger. All right, let's stop for now with those and focus on these. And I want to drag them even further, make them smaller so that the fabric can cover more. All right, that looks good for now. Maybe drag them a bit further and make another layer. Let's see how that looks. I'll rotate it quite a bit, so when our character, if you look in the reference, is looking a bit down and is covering a lot of his face, the hoodie. So let's select again the faces and make them smaller and take them down. All right, so that looks like a place that could fit a head. We are also trying to exaggerate every bit here. We don't want stuff to be too boring, too plain. And I want it to be our character. I don't want to be like a generic one. Let's select the vertices and there should be one more. Okay. I don't like it like that, so let's drag it down. Maybe even more and a bit into our side. Okay. Okay. That looks quite good. And let's go to the area that would contain the shoulders. And I want to modify that a bit. It's not exaggerated enough. Let's drag those in a bit more. And as you can see, like the back is quite flat. So we want to make a slight curve in there. Okay. Our character will have a better stature like that. And I want to select those two again and exaggerate them a bit more to the back. I don't want to make the character hunchback yet. I want him to be standing right now. And let's select those, insert them in. And as you might think, this would be the hand area. So let's get that out. I'll actually be lazy on this one and I don't want to create both hands because we don't need them. And I'll just create this one. Let's extrude first and then rotate a bit, take that a bit out and then rotate again, that in, and we have to extrude again. But first, just take those vertices a bit back. I don't want them to be that further. If you look at characters on the internet, you'll usually see that they have the T-pose, pose where they have like their hands stretched around their shoulders. We won't be doing that right now, since our rig will be quite easy to make. But usually for characters, you should do that, so that you have a good base to start with. To keep that in mind. But since we are not even doing legs, yeah, we can skip some parts also. Okay, let me extrude. That would be like the wrist area, and then we create the hand. We don't have to create any fingers right now. This would be like the fingers area where we make it smaller. Okay, let me just get in on the wireframe mode, and it's still quite a bit rotated. So let's take that a bit and rotate it again. Okay, looks quite good already. And I want to select this edge and make it a bit bigger, so that we have a bigger difference when you see the hand. But I don't want him to look like the Terminator punching people around. And I want to make it clear that the clothes stop here. So let's see. I'll add another one here and make it smaller. And just like that, you can see right now that when we be adding the materials, you'll see the difference even more. That we have the fist right here, the closed hand. Let's select just those two and take them a bit further. And right now we have a hand and the cloak that goes with the hand also. And the stuff will be added as a separate object that will be going through the hand, but it will look like the character is holding the stuff, since he already has a closed hand. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's work a bit on body. And as you can see, the feet, because of the subdivision, we need another line here. Okay, to make that edge sharper. Looks pretty good, maybe a bit too exaggerated. So let's go for something like that. I just made this detail to make it seem like the cloak doesn't touch the ground like in every frame. So like he has actual feet. Let's exaggerate a bit the stomach and the chest area. Maybe take that also here. All right. So we have quite a sturdy old man, it seems. I think we have to work a bit more on the hoodie. It looks a bit too bulky right now. Let's rename it to Witch Body. And I call it like that because we'll be adding separately the face. So let's actually do that right now. Let's create the face and see how it fits, and then we can just adjust more. So it's another cube. Let's go to wireframe. And the face won't be actually very complex. So I want to actually guess right now where the vertices would stand for the face. So around here, I think. And he will have a blocky face, but we'll make it sharper in the chin area. And I want a really big nose, like in the cartoons or witches, because I don't know, people think big noses are evil or something. Okay, and this would be the chin area, and I want even one more segment for the chin to make it even sharper. All right, let's add another line here. And I want another one in the middle so that we can create the nose easily by selecting the front faces. All right, let's insert them and make it blocky. Take that a bit about that part. And then, as you could see, actually selected the back vertices also. That doesn't really matter. It won't be a problem for us, but yeah, try not to do it. And actually, I want to go back a bit. I made a mistake on the bottom part, I think. Yeah, I scaled it the improper way. So Let's go to wireframe and put another part here. So let's drag this out, and I want to go to wireframe mode and select the back vertices and drag them the front to about this point. Then let's go back to solid, and I want to select the lower edge of the chin and drag that out. But first, actually, let me just create additional lines here to the front and to the side. And let's select now both of those edges and drag them to the front. And then a bit down. So this would be like a really pointy chin. And I want to select the faces right here and insert them in. This would be the area for the nose. Let's drag it around this part. And you won't actually be able to see the eyes of the witch. You'll be just seeing the really big nose and the chin. That is intentional since we don't have to model anymore. Let's make a really weird nose here, really big one. And rotate that a bit in. You can go for a more pointy nose if you want, that won't really change much. But I think I'll go for a big round one. Well, not really round, more like pear shape. Okay, let's see how that looks. We won't be creating any ears or hair or stuff, just this part of the mouth that won't be really much visible. So this is a Joker smile. I hope you enjoy it and it will create some nightmares for you. Let's key that in, and I want to select these edges and bevel them a bit, that he has something like lips. And then select this point and drag that in, and this point also a bit down. And I want to select the temple ones and drag them a bit back. And as you can see, we are giving it a bit more of a shape. So now the face looks like an actual face, and let's drag these also. You won't be actually able to see those, but I just want to make it for the sake of the video to understand that the geometry of a human head is actually pretty hard to get through, at least the first couple of times. To be fair, I'm doing cartoony stuff, so it's giving you much more freedom. So let's get a subdivision surface going here, and I don't want to see it in edit mode. Let's select the mouth vertices, and I'll just do a smaller mouth and want to make it even less pronounced. So if you actually take a look, like usually characters that have small lips or small mouth are usually more evil than the ones that have a big mouth and are really cheery and happy. These are just details about storytelling that I've learned. Let's make this nose even bigger. It has to be stupid big. All right. Now we have a stupid big nose. That looks so weird. Maybe a little less pronounced. Okay, so now it's more pointy. Let's see. Let's go for this look. That looks just, well, weird. So let's select those also. And now the head is looking like something. I'm not still satisfied with the mouth, so I want to create some more details. So I'll be creating a couple of teeth. I won't be doing something really complex, and actually I don't think you'll be seeing the character's teeth, but this is just a small thing I want to do. And let's go to wireframe and make the base a bit narrower, and the top we can leave that a bit bigger. And as you can see, I actually added the new cube, the tooth. I added it in edit mode. And if you do that, it would actually still be considered a part of the head. That's a nice way of adding detail without doing it separately and then parenting it. I don't really recommend to do it for like really big projects, but for small ones and details, you can do that just fine without creating any more cuts into your head model. And it also has applied like all the modifiers that the main head has. And I want to drag this tooth a bit further into the mouth. And that should be a good point for it. Let's just take it a bit up. And then I want to duplicate it 3 or 4 times. Let's see how that works. So one here and one for the top side. Let's take a look at that. The top one can be dragged down a bit more. So let's go for this. All right. So now we have kind of toothless witch. That looks pretty nice. So that's about it with the face. Let's save, and I'll keep the subdivision to just level 1, and the same for the witch body. I don't want more than that. It's already enough detail. So let's actually drag the face up to the front, and right now what we want to do, as you can see, the face is way too small for the body. So we need to adjust those two so that they fit with each other. And keep in mind that I want the face to be tilted down a bit. So I want the character to be looking towards the ground a bit more. I'll be actually doing the character, since it's an old man or witch or whatever, I want them to look down to the ground. They'd be a bit crouched with each movement. And you have to keep in mind that the goatee, or, well, like the sharp part of their face that's sticking out of the clothes, would be first the nose, and second would be the chin. So you have to keep that in mind, and you have to adjust the clothes around that element. So right now, I don't want to bore you guys with every adjustment that I do right now, since I've worked quite a bit here. So I'll just use my magical powers to speed up through it. So yeah, I'll see you in a couple of seconds. Okay, so that's settled. So right now I want to actually modify like the body, the coat. I want to modify it a bit more, since right now it's way too bulky for our head. So let's drag those in. And we want to really create a silhouette for the witch, but don't forget that when you watch the model, you want to watch it into object mode, not into edit mode, since we disabled the subdivision for that. And okay, that's looking good. The front is still looking way too bulky, so let's drag those in. And as you could see earlier in my previous magic session, I wanted to drag the clothes as much down as possible so that I don't have to model the eyes and the ears for the witch, and that's what I did. I just kind of modeled the clothes after the head, so that worked out pretty well. And let's give it a bit more space around here, and we also want to give a curve. Okay, that looks pretty good for now. So let's create a cylinder, and this one has too many vertices, so let's drag down to 12, or maybe even less, to 8. Well, yeah, 8 would work just fine. So let's drag this to the front, make it smaller, and this will be the base for our stuff. It will look pretty much like the pillars we used for the house, but a bit more detailed, let's say. So let's drag it here to the base and roughly match it up. I'll be building it straightforward, and if you want to tilt it later, that's fine. So let's go here to edit mode and wireframe and select the top ones. The scepter would be actually pretty different from what we have in the reference image. So I'll be creating a main part that's the first one that I'm building right now. This would be the base for the stuff. And let's actually get right here a wider base. And I want the loop cut. So I can isolate these faces that I've created here, and I want to extrude and then scale them in to add some more detail. And I'll go for 2 loop cuts about knee or waist part, and I want to drag them together. So SZ, and these faces I'll actually extrude again, but I'll scale them out and scale them a bit on the Z axis too. And as I said earlier, this will be the first segment. And we also have a crystal that's about storytelling. Oops, sorry. And then we have a top part to cover the crystal. So let's drag this around here and extrude, scale up. And this part will have to work a bit more with it. So let's go to solid. I want to connect the vertices right here to connect them all into the middle. So let's select the opposite ones and press J. So J, the second, the third. Oh, not like that. Sorry. These two. Oops. Not again. Okay, let's select those two and J and the last ones. And right now they're connected into the middle. Let's make sure we have no duplicates. So merge by distance. So that was clean. That's all right. So I want to work with those faces, but first let me just drag this vertex down. And now we can select the faces and we want to insert them in. And you have to press as individual and then extrude them down a bit. Now, what I will be doing, I want to select the edges that we have on each part of the top side. So let's go, sorry, let's go to edit mode. And first, let me drag this one here, maybe a bit down around this part. And now, as I said, I want to select the edges. Okay, the first, the second. And you will see that we'll create a pretty nice design by using this method. And we want to drag them down. And voila. Now we have a pretty dope design for our first part of the stuff. And we'll be actually using the vertices right here to create the top part too. But for now, let's go into edit mode. And I want to create an icosphere that would be the crystal. And make sure to be into edit mode so that we don't make the crystal part of, well, we don't make it as a separate object, but as part of this one. You don't have to modify any settings for the icosphere, just make it smaller and drag it here. And we also have to drag it on the other axis. Let's go to the top side also to match it, to make sure that it's going right into the middle of the stuff. Go around here and make it smaller a bit. The crystal actually won't be standing on the stuff, but it would be like levitating, and it will have the same color as the other crystals in our scene. You'll see later. So let's select those vertices and we want to duplicate them and drag them to the top of the stuff, and we want to rotate them on 180 degrees and just like that, right? And drag them down, scale that up a bit. And I want to take the top vertices and make them more pointy towards the end. So something like that. All right. Let's check that up a bit. And if you take a look into solid mode, you'll see that we have no top face and we want to actually fix that. So let's go back to edit mode and we want to select the edges and then press F to fill and make it smaller. Extrude again. And this segment, I think I'll do it more like a cap. So it would be the last segment of the stuff. Something like this, maybe a bit more upwards. All right, that looks pretty good. We could definitely adjust it more, but I think that's pretty decent. And you can always come back later for it. Like if you take a look, the crystal is not really standing in the middle of the segments. And if you want to select all of it, the selection, you have to press 1 and then L to select all the vertices on the same area. So that's about it, the stuff. Let's drag it into the hand of our powerful sorcerer. And I'll just leave it as that. That's pretty much our model. For now, if you want, you can tilt stuff around, but we'll go to that later when the ringing part occurs. Let me just get the origin point to about waist size for now. You'll see why I'm doing it later. So let's drag that up again. And well, that's about it. Now, if you want to make some modifications, you could, but I'll just keep it as that. And yeah, that's it. All right, so that is it for today. We created our wizard and his stuff. And on the next tutorial, we'll be focusing on creating the props for our scene. So I'll see you there. Bye.